Your call has been forwarded.
My boy got that D&D.
Back, what's the word?
Dogface, what's going on, man? I'm on stream. I'm over here trying to cover this Allstar Jr. stuff. I figured you probably know a little bit more than me. I don't know if you have time to talk. Do you?
I got time.
Okay, so I want you to put us up on game on what's going on. I'm kind of a little bit thoroughly confused. I haven't still gotten the criminal complaint for this new charge he caught, but he caught a state charge for aggravated assault, causing paralysis to the spine or some nervous damage. What is going on? Especially, I thought we all were on the understanding that he was getting robbed. And a lot of people thought this was going to be self-defense, but it looks like not only the feds are coming at him with a charge of having a gun, he's now being charged with a shooting. How come none of these things are reflecting the story we're hearing that he was getting robbed and maybe other people had the gun? What's going on?
The magic question is, how come none of the things that are happening from a legal perspective are reflective of what we saw taking place on that video? That is the magic question. That is it. That is all. I have a couple of theories based on just knowing the legal system and having a bird's eye view of what's going on here. I talked to JR 4 days ago, and we were all surprised that the state took the aggravated assault charge is a state charge, it's not fed. So let's just back up for a second. What normally happens when the feds move in and take over a case? Everything surrounding whatever that particular thing is becomes federalized. Like, for example, the feds moved in and they charged JR initially with being a felon in possession of a firearm. Well, what normally happens is that anything involving or surrounding the firearm, any incident, any case, whether it's a robbery, whether it's a shooting, the whole thing normally becomes federalized, not just the felon in possession of the firearm part. So we were surprised the state picked it up because the feds had the opportunity to examine everything that happened in its totality. The feds had the opportunity to examine the assault that took place. They had the opportunity to examine the robbery that took place. They had the opportunity to examine everything. They talked to multiple people. They eventually talked to JR. They wanted JR to tell them where the gun came from. He does not know where it came from. He was being robbed and assaulted by multiple people.
Okay, so do you believe that the feds are kind of trying to they want him to cooperate somewhat or give them some information?
Well, that is as it specifically relates to the being a felon in possession of a firearm. This whole state thing, this is an overreach of epic proportion and of extreme magnitude. Because like I just said, let's back up for 1 second, Act. When the feds move in to take over a case, they take over the whole thing. The feds moved in, they had the opportunity to examine everything that happened that night at Confessions in its totality. They've interviewed people, they have the video footage inside the restaurant, they have innocent bystander video footage, they have the video footage from the parking lot outside. They know what happened. They know that Jay Prince Jr. did not arrive late to a party that was already ongoing. They know that. They know that OG3 and his whole entourage were at Atlantic Oceans, and that's where he was enjoying himself for his birthday celebration. They know that the whole theory that Jay Prince Jr. arrived late to a party that was already ongoing, they know that's not true. So let's look at the felon in possession of a firearm. The feds charged him with the felon in possession of a firearm.
Yeah.
Right? The state moved in, and I'm finna blow your fucking mind as we start to talk about this shit in more detail. 3 people got shot. Ben 10, Daddy and Ron, and an innocent bystander got hit in the ass.
Really?
But yet Allstar Jr., Daddy and Ron got his fucking index finger blew off.
Hey, yo, you're locked in with Waking Up TV.
Why aren't the feds charging him with all 3 shootings? There were 3 people that got hit. Daddy and Ron, Ben 10, and an innocent bystander who was unnamed. Why isn't he charged with all three on the state level?
Do you think that they're looking at the fact that Ben 10 is paralyzed and
No, they're not. See, listen, and that's another funny thing. Normally, when you talk about injury or when you talk about somebody getting shot, bro, what happened and the injuries they suffered, that really comes out in trial, either pre-trial or trial itself. The fact that they articulated the fact that he suffered paralysis that is something that comes out in discovery. That's something that comes out when we go to trial, where it's like a mitigating circumstance, because whether he was shot and killed or whether he was shot and is not paralyzed, all that information would come out in trial. All these things are being introduced, in my opinion, to try to sway public opinion against them, because now we have people you don't have a shooting, you don't have a gun without first having Allstar Jr. being assaulted and robbed. That's first. And even in the initial criminal complaint from the Fed level, they said that in the criminal complaint where they charged him with being a felon in possession of a firearm, it articulated inside the criminal complaint that while being assaulted and robbed, he came into possession of a firearm. It didn't say where it came from, didn't say who initially had it, didn't say he had it, didn't say Ben 10 had it, didn't say Ron had it, didn't say OG3 had it, didn't say anything. It just says he came into possession of a firearm and he shot somebody while being robbed. When you back up even further and go to the night that it happened, when the officer did the press conference outside, the older white guy who did a press conference outside, right, Allstar Jr. wasn't there. So all the information that was gathered that police officer talked about during that initial press conference the night that it happened, all that information came from innocent bystanders or onlookers or one of the NBA members themselves, because Allstar Jr. was nowhere around. So when the police officer gave the initial press conference that night, he said, based on the information that he had received, based on the footage that he saw, based on eyewitness testimony, based on talking to the employees of the restaurant, it appears as if a person was being assaulted and robbed, and that person shot the people who were assaulting and robbing him. That was the initial police report. That was the initial police statement. That was the initial press conference.
So do you think they're like switching it around now that,
I think that Jay Prince Sr. has put his hand on the scale, because if the feds didn't pick up the assault part of the crime, because this is all one continuous thing. So Allstar Jr. being a felon in possession of a firearm, that's not a singular event. He was a felon in possession of a firearm, and then that firearm caused great bodily injury. The issue is, did he have the right legally to possess it and use it? So people are saying, well, he went one step too far. Okay, going one step too far, it has nothing to do with whether he initially had the right to possess it. And if he did have the right to possess it, we can argue and we can haggle and we can debate about whether he went too far. But when you look at it from the initial vantage point, when you look at it, he was being robbed. When you look at it, he was being assaulted. None of that has been taken into consideration. How in the fuck is Daddy and Ron and the rest of the fucking stupid ass NBA demons, how the fuck are none of them charged with a robbery or assault? Because you don't have a gun. You don't have a shooting without first having Allstar Jr. being victimized on camera by a group of motherfucking demons from hell.
Well, maybe he has to make a statement, though. Is he going to make a statement?
Hey, listen, Akademiks, they have it on camera, brother.
No, I hear what you're saying, but a lot of times when we're talking about...
Yes, they do want him to make a statement. They want him to confirm what they already see. We know how the feds work. We know how it's not even just the feds. That's how law enforcement works in general. Even though they have video footage showing what took place, they want him to confirm. He can't. But what do you want him to confirm? You want him to confirm where it came from? He does not know where the gun came from. He wasn't looking around to see who had what. He was being hit about the head, neck, shoulders, back. He was knocked to the ground. He was stumped, kicked. People were picking up chairs and trying to hit him upside the fucking head. He don't know where it come from. All he know is that he heard somebody say, "Get that gun, grab that gun." He looked over a peripheral vision and he saw the gun and he used it to defend himself against people who were attacking, assaulting, and robbing him.
Yeah. So I mean, he's missing chains, right? Am I tripping?
Yeah, he's missing chains and watch.
So yeah, why do you think the police don't give a damn about that?
Hey, listen. Your guess at this point is as good as mine. Because, like I said before, when the feds normally pick up a case, they pick up all the elements of the case. They don't just separate it. We're going to pick you up for the gun. Wait a minute. If I was wrong for having the gun to begin with, then I was wrong for using the gun. So why didn't the feds take over the entire motherfucking case? That shit is weird. So they're going to pick up a gun case, but they're going to say, oh, fuck the fact that 2-3 people got shot. We don't even want to talk about that. We're not going to prosecute him for that. Even though we're saying he was a felon in possession of a firearm and he wasn't supposed to have it because he was a felon. We're not going to touch, we're not going to talk about, we're not going to prosecute him for all the violent acts that took place with the firearm. We're going to let the state of Texas pick it up. What? That shit. Listen, I don't give a fuck if a motherfucker is a jailhouse lawyer or if a motherfucker graduated from Howard or USC with a law degree. None of this shit makes sense. It all stinks to high hell.
Hey, so what I was actually thinking, I was thinking that the reason why they haven't locked up Ben 10 and them, they're in another investigation that would require them to stay free right now.
What? What kind of investigation is that? Are you saying they federal informants?
No. I'm saying it could be a racketeering thing. It could be something ongoing. We've seen it in situations. Obviously, like the feds usually move different than the state. But let's look at what happened in Memphis. Big Jug, they didn't pick Big Jug up immediately. Like he was pretty much part of a larger thing. Also, let's look at King Von. King Von, who a lot of people felt like they shouldn't have dropped the case on statewide when it came to the whole thing with the shooting in 2019. That was going to get picked up by the feds. Actually, they're trying to put it on Dirk now again. So sometimes they allow someone to be free because maybe they got a bigger investigation going on, and you locking them up now for this, granted, it is a charge, but it might fuck up the larger scale investigation. That's the only thing I could think because if it's on camera, robbery should be pretty clear as day. The guy came with chains. He don't got chains at the end. At that point, what are we talking about? Like it shouldn't take this long, right?
Hey, I listen. So what you said was that's plausible, which means it could be, right? It could be the case. However, so even if that was what the feds were thinking as they were proceeding, why then charge JR with anything? Why not just leave it in limbo?
Because they need JR to give statements to get that conviction.
Okay, so the only statements that JR has made is, right? The only statements that he's made is, I don't know. I used the gun to defend myself. He said that in rap videos. He said that in Instagram posts, and he said to them, he doesn't know where the gun come from. He can't pinpoint where it came from because he doesn't know. Like I said, when you look at the video, he was not looking around. He was confronted by multiple people. See, the one thing that people are trying to say is, well, he was attacked. He was jumped on by 5 or 6 people. Hey, listen, he was confronted by a mob of people, men and women. When he started to get attacked, he didn't know how many people had jumped in. And we know women nowadays can jump in on shit too. We dealing with a bunch of midnight fucking marauders who from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, who some country neck bone, pickle pig, feet eating ass niggas. So he didn't know. He wasn't counting 1 little, 2 little, 3 little Indians. He was being attacked by a mob of people. He doesn't know where the gun comes from. He couldn't tell them where it came from if he wanted to because he doesn't know. He was ducking, trying to protect himself, trying to protect his jury. That's it. He doesn't know where it came from. So they needed him to make a statement about that. His statement is, I don't know where it came from. I saw it on the ground. I picked it up and I used it to cut them bitches down. That's it. That's all.
So what could probably also be is not only about the gun. It could be about the sequence of events leading to it, right? So if they need him to say, okay, who did you have a confrontation with or a conversation with? Who said what to you? Okay, who hit identify the people who's on this video. Right, because remember, if a lot of people start scattering, right, nobody stuck around till when the cops come around. We need somebody to do some identifications. So now they need you to do
the first person who wasn't around was him. So I get it. They need him to give them his rendition of what took place from the beginning to end, from the point when he initially came in contact with the mob of people. I get that. The whole thing is all that's on camera. It is on camera that Jay Prince Jr. met up with the NBA squad outside of the confessions. They were out there talking for 10 minutes before they all walked in together. So that destroys Jay Prince Jr.'s initial statement on Instagram when he says that he arrived late to a party. OG3's birthday celebration was the party that was already ongoing at Confessions. OG3's birthday party was not at Confessions. It was at Atlantic Ocean. We have the video footage. We have the video surveillance footage we have the footage. We've acquired it. We have people who are down with them who don't like what's happening. We have people who are down with mob ties
and by the way,
and NBA.
They might just need like, just some context to be like, okay, what were y'all arguing about? Right, like just like these questions is gonna help set up the motive and this and third. And if they're not getting that cooperation from Allstar Jr, they might be like, all right, we're gonna have to kind of force your hand in a way because, okay, let's see if you don't want no justice for you getting robbed and beat up. Well, we could charge you. So like some way somehow somebody's going down. You could only help yourself by cooperating with us. Your case could go bye-bye. But we got to get somebody here.
Okay, so academics, listen. So let's all imagine. Let's get rid of our black skin and let's all jump into white bodies, bro. Right? If Allstar Jr. was white, whether he was a rapper or not, they would be singing his praise for defending himself against some ruthless fucking attackers, bro. It's as simple as that. Texas is a stand-your-ground state. True. So when it comes to not knowing or not having an understanding of what's going on, they know what happened because not only do they have the footage from the onlookers who provided the footage that we all seen, that footage didn't come from the restaurant. The restaurant footage, the law enforcement has the restaurant footage as well. And it is crystal fucking clear from beginning to end. There's footage by the elevator. There's footage outside in the parking lot. There's footage that's more clearer than what we have saw. What we have been able to see is the footage from one of the onlookers who were filming it with their cell phone. But the restaurant had surveillance cameras as well. So I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying. I'm just simply saying that what you're saying does not make sense. And it doesn't take a legal scholar to be able to say, that shit don't make sense because they interviewed people in the restaurant. And don't forget, there was an innocent person who had nothing to do with it at all, who wasn't NBA, wasn't mob ties, wasn't with JR, who got hit as well. They interviewed that person as well. So listen, let's move forward to what has to be true, what we know is true at this point. NBA Ben 10 made a statement and said the gun was Allstar Jr's. Allstar Jr. said, I don't know where the gun came from. That's where the initial charges came from to begin with because NBA Ben 10 said that was Allstar Jr.
So wait, so you think Ben 10 told?
Ben 10 cooperated with the feds. Wow. Ben 10 was sitting in the hospital. If you think, so they're in there eating grits and eggs and he getting a facial and he getting a haircut. He's doing all this shit. You think the feds ain't come up in there? You think HPD ain't come up in there? He was in the hospital down there a month. You think that no member of law enforcement, local, state, or federal law enforcement came in there to interview that motherfucker? And if so, why did he? We know they did. It's a fact they came up in there. So why did he tell us about that? Why did he say the feds came in here and questioned me and I ain't tell him shit? He didn't even mention it because he had been talking to the feds the whole fucking time.
Hey, yo, you're locked in with Waking Up TV.
That's why. Listen, bro. You're the king of motherfucking rock when it comes to this shit. You're the king of rock, period. Simple as that, and everybody fucking know it. That's why everybody's trying to fucking attack you and try to knock you off your fucking throne. You're a wise man. You know that there's no way that he sat in that hospital 3.5 weeks to a month, and no member of law enforcement came in there and questioned him. He didn't say any member of law enforcement came in there. He didn't say, hey, the feds came and questioned me, and I didn't tell him shit. That would have been some gangster shit if he would have said that, but he didn't even mention that he had been questioned, and you and I both. You know it, I know it, and God know it. There's 3 motherfuckers in chat know it. There's 4 motherfuckers. Me, you, God, and chat. No, the feds came in there to talk to him, to question him about what the fuck happened, bro. He didn't say anything to us about the feds questioning him. You know why?
No. All right. That makes sense. You're right. It makes sense. But it's not on him to tell us what the feds say. You know what I mean? Like, I'm pretty sure he's not trying to help out Allstar Jr. and he's not in cuffs yet. So it's not on him to be like, yeah, the feds came in here just letting you know I didn't say nothing.
Well, so here's the whole thing. Hey, academics, brother. In the world we live in now, with how stupid these motherfuckers are, bro. Right? Listen, they say time is the best judge of whether something was right or wrong. They say nothing beats time when it comes to figuring out whether somebody was right or wrong. Right? When you look at everything that happens after that, when you look at him going back to his town where they're supposed to be the kings of their city, you look about how he was targeted by his own people who lined him up to get shot. Listen, bro, we're not dealing with proper thinking human beings. So I think the mistake that people are making is that you're trying to judge what is most likely to have happened when you're looking at it through the lens of somebody who's a reasonably intelligent person. We're dealing with people who graduated from the second grade and dropped out. We're dealing with motherfuckers who mama let them smoke and drink weed at 3 years old. We're not dealing with normal human beings, bro. We're dealing with savages. We're dealing with fucking savages. These motherfuckers are not even fucking human, bro. I dare say they're not even from this fucking planet, bro. Look at all this crazy shit happening. The feds never questioned him. Law enforcement never questioned him. Nobody questioned him. He just shot. And now the whole world and even the media, especially the media in Texas, the media is trying to cast him as if he's a fucking victim. No, bro. You listen.
Cast who? Are you talking about Ben 10?
Yeah, they're trying to cast these niggas like they're victims. Hey, no, listen. If I try to steal your car right now and you shoot me while I'm trying to steal your car, even though I'm shot, even though I'm the one injured, that does not make me a victim. It makes me a person who got shot in the commission of a fucking felony, bro. It doesn't make me a victim. But all the press coverage, especially coming out of Texas, right? Everything, people are, all the talking points, he was a victim, he was this, he got paralyzed. So fucking what? He got paralyzed because he was robbing and jumping on somebody that he didn't know about a girl that he didn't know. He didn't have a problem with Allstar Jr. Allstar Jr. did not know NBA. He didn't know none of them. He didn't know OG3. He didn't know Daddy and Ron. He didn't know Ben 10. He didn't know them niggas. He didn't have no issue with any of them.
Hey, so it's looking like, because Allstar Jr. might not have the connections. It looked like he might be, it's not looking good for him. He has the least connections out of everybody in this whole situation, and look
Wait
like
a minute now. I want you to know that you are crossing over into dangerous territory because you are. Listen, back up. Hold on. I want you to examine what you're saying. I'm going to give you an opportunity to take that back because what you just suggested was because he's not from Texas, because he's not plugged in, because he has the least amount of connections, because Jay Prince Jr. is tied into mob ties, which is tied into Rapid Lie, which is tied into his daddy, Senior. And the NBA cats are tied into the long money of NBA Youngboy. You're saying that justice is not blind, and you're saying that somebody with money and power has put their finger on the scales of justice and tilted it against Allstar Jr. That's what you are suggesting when you're saying what you're saying. Because if it's about power, connections, and least amount of this and least amount of that, what the fuck does that got to do with what we saw transpiring on that motherfucking video?
Well,
it ain't supposed to be about no motherfucking who got more political ties and connections. It's supposed to be law enforcement in the legal system is supposed to be blind. We know it's not, but it's supposed to be. And the way this whole thing is shaking out, it looks like to even the casual observer that something is not fucking right. And I am accusing mob ties. I'm accusing Jay Prince Sr. of putting his finger on the scales of justice to try to protect his son and to protect them stupid ass niggas that his son had do his bidding. That's what I'm saying.
Well. I mean, I'll speak directly. I definitely feel some of that's going on. I don't think that if you go to Houston and you involve yourself with the Prince family, that law enforcement is going to protect you. I feel like they are favored there. I think they have influence there that's going to reach beyond what you got. And I mean, we could tell from how the Takeoff case is gone.
Jesus Christ, Akademiks, bro. Do you realize what you are suggesting, bro? Do you understand the impact of the words that you're using right now, bro?
Well, I mean, I think it's just
real.
kind of clear. I think it's kind of clear.
Oh, yeah, I get it, though. But to hear somebody like you, to hear a person who's as well-informed and as influential as you are, to hear you even say that out loud, that shit sends chills through my spine, up and down my spine, and it should send chills through the spines of anybody who's watched this whole thing unfold, because the shit that's transpiring is not right. The feds just don't pick up a gun. If the feds gonna step in, they're gonna pick up everything surrounding that whole case. But they only picked up the gun. Why? So if the gun was a federal offense and he was in violation of federal law because he was a felon in possession of a firearm, then everything that transpired from him having possession of the gun should have been federalized too. When does the Fed split jurisdiction? When they stepped in. When does that ever happen? I'm telling you, I've been getting in trouble since Jesus walked the earth. When the feds move in, bro, they taking over the whole goddamn case, and they will decide whether or not something or some aspect of the particular case surrounding the crime they stepped in on is prosecutable. They decide that. They didn't prosecute JR for shooting anybody, but the state moved in. And when the state moved in, that told me, and it tells you, and it tells anybody who's watching this shit, everything you need. J. Prince Jr. has bankrolled the political careers of state legislatures, from the Senate, the Texas State Senate, to the Texas House of Republicans. He's bankrolled lawyers. He's sent lawyers to school who have become prosecutors. He is the devil made manifest. And that's why everything that you see, going back to the whole Big Mike situation, when they tried to do the same thing to Big Mike, they doing the finesse 2 times. And Big Mike wasn't bad in that shit. People forget about the shit they did to Big Mike. People forget that motherfuckers came to court and testified against Big Mike from New Orleans when he got into it with the whole Prince family and Rap-A-Lot, and he went to prison for arson and a couple of other goddamn things. People forgetting about this shit. They forgetting about that shit. They starting the whole thing at Takeoff, then Duke the Jeweler, and now the situation with Allstar Jr. But the corruption and all the shit that's going on in the state of Texas, bro, I don't know whether to cry or clap because a black man has that much power. Because normally, having money and influence, it does not shield you from the long arm of the law. And it looks like Jay Prince and his whole family and anybody connected to him, they like Donald Trump. They can grab a bitch by the pussy.
By the way, I've always heard that about Houston. I've heard Houston, they operate a little bit different. It's a lot based on respect. Knowing the right people could get you a long way. And, I've heard from natives there, they basically say the police department, the way how policing is done there, it's more of a, I'm not going to step on your toes as long as you have the respect overall for authority, which means, let's say, they're not going to, and at least this is local police we're talking about, obviously, but
right.
They're going to have the respect for the Prince family as long as the Prince family, say an incident comes up, they're going to work with law enforcement to make sure that, and when I mean work, I'm not talking like snitching, but like, hey.
Whoa, Chris, you better be careful. Because I don't want to, I got a little money, but I can't afford the round-the-clock security for you. Because what you're about to suggest is that as long you work, you scratch our back, we scratch your back.
Well, I guess the best way to kind of describe it is like how it works. Like, have you ever seen like how the cartels work with the police, like local police?
Yes.
Where it's basically like, hey, listen, if somebody does a murder, we're not going to have you fuck up the whole city and shut down the whole city. We're going to almost provide the guy, be like, hey, listen, the guy who did this, y'all go prosecute him.
It's called serving them up, Akademiks. It's called serving them up.
Yeah, you serve him up, right?
That's what it's called.
And I believe that's how Houston's kind of ran to a certain extent. Like, I know people, it's laughable when people in most parts of the country, they hear this mob ties, this and third, but I think there's enough examples where they could show how normally either a police precinct would work or the mayor, or how a city would treat certain incidents or certain people. And clearly, when it comes to Houston, there's different rules. There's different rules. Like, you know what I mean?
I agree. You have no argument. For me, you're actually making my case because I'm screaming to high hell. I just sent out a federal petition to Donald Trump asking him to step in to review what the fuck is going on with this situation because it is prosecutorial overreach or misconduct. That's what's going on here.
What particular case? The state case or the Fed case?
With the state case. I'm saying this is prosecutorial. It's on my Instagram page. I actually sent it out. And I've actually spoken to, because, I mean, it's obvious that somebody has their hands or their finger on the scales of justice. So I sent out a petition, right? I sent out a petition to the Trump administration to have them step in to do a review of what's going on here because this shit is not normal. It's not normal. And everybody who's watching this thing, I don't care who, listen, even if you believe that Allstar Jr. went one step or two steps or three steps too far, right? Even if you believe that the protection that he normally would have had was negated by the fact that he went too far, he fled the scene, he did this, he did that, he came back and stood over him. Even if you believe that, everything that has happened after that, none of this shit is normal. So even if you do believe that he is going too far, that's on you to make a decision. But I'm going to tell you something. If he was white, nobody would be saying he'd be going too far because the threat is not over until you believe in your own mind the threat is not over. The threat is over. When you're being attacked by 6, 7 people, got chairs in the air, they ripped your jewelry off. Don't forget, they ripped your jewelry off your neck. They pulled your watch off your arm in a federal complaint. When he charged him with being a felon in possession of a firearm, it says that somebody took his watch off his arm and put it in his pocket and put it in their pocket. Somebody took the chains off his neck.
They have to be still doing an investigation because I'm telling you, whoever took that chain, those chains, if they're real, they're high-priced items. You can't just not. I mean, I guess somebody could say, well, maybe he'd make a police report for them, but no, again, to a certain extent, it's a public incident. It's caught on camera.
It's a public incident. Bingo.
Now, granted, I will say the politics in certain places might say, "Hey, we're only gonna do a legit inquiry into that if you're pressing charges." But in reality, in any place, the police should it's in their they should be doing their due diligence to make sure crime is not occurring, especially if it's caught on camera. But again, they, just based off politics, they might be like, all right, well, we'll go make an arrest for that or we'll file some charges, but we need a statement from the victim,
So we need a statement from the victim. If the victim is able to make a statement before we will push forward with charges, because we want to make sure that we don't have a reluctant witness or reluctant victim. So Allstar Jr. was charged with aggravated assault on Ben 10, and the general public, especially the people that come out of Texas, trying to make it like he's a victim. So what statement did that son of a bitch make to law enforcement officials? It's going to come out. We going to trial. We're not laying down. We're going to fight this shit. We're going to fight this shit, bro. We're not laying down on this shit because something ain't right. And it don't take Sigmund Freud. It don't take Michael Eric Dyson. It don't take motherfucking Bill Gates to know this shit ain't right and something's wrong. And I'm going to stand up for this shit.
By the way, this coming week and the week after this week, we're going to find out a lot from what they were saying and from what I looked at the federal case. He's still not made it to Harris County yet. So when he gets to Harris County and he gets his first appearance, even by the way, the state case is they have a inactive status on it, which means, yes, there is a case, but it's not actively, there's also a warrant, but they're not prosecuting it as if it's like a top priority. Honestly, because they know he has another case. So
yeah, they have it. So yeah, it's inactive because they know the Fed case is paramount. Yeah. That is where. But see, a lot of what's happening here. So the state case is going to be affected by what happens in the Fed case, because what happens in the Fed case is going to tell the whole tale.
Yeah, facts.
So just sitting back waiting. They charged him, but they're going to just sit back and wait till the information that they glean out of the federal prosecution, because him being a felon in possession of a firearm, We have to argue why he was in possession of a firearm. How did he get in possession of a firearm? That has to be determined in the federal case. So the state would be wise to just sit back and wait, which is what they're going to do, because a lot of what they need, or them just say, hey, we're not going to touch this shit. We charged him, but we're not going to move forward with prosecution because we don't have a case based on what we found out in the federal prosecution of him. Because all that, even though he's not charged with any acts of violence on the federal level, everything that transpired in that restaurant will be brought into evidence in order to justify what the fuck took place.
Hey, I believe this week after he's in Texas, I believe 100% we're gonna see a lot of movement that's gonna help us explain some of these questions we have, because they're gonna be brought up in court. Hey, listen, judge, this is not indicted. We probably need to wait for this process. This is very clear. We also need the full discovery. It's clear self-defense. There's a lot to be done, and also, the reason why the state usually falls all the way back and let the feds handle it is because you're gonna get these objections made in court, because now this guy is facing other charges, and it's the same related incident, so it could be a little bit tricky. So I think this week we're gonna see exactly what the feds have going on and exactly what he could probably expect. But I do think at some point he will get bail. I'm not gonna lie, I do think he will get bail.
Watch this act. So listen, I don't want to gloss over what you said earlier when you said that none of this appears to be right on the surface. You don't have to dig into it. You don't have to be a legal scholar. You don't have to be a legal scholar to understand that something is not right here. And when you say that the Prince family, they are like you ever watch Dallas? I'm old. Remember the J.R. Ewing and Bobby Ewing? The show, you're young, so it was a show called Dallas. And they were talked about a powerful oil-bearing family, the Ewings, Bobby Ewing, J.R. Ewing. The Prince family is like Bobby Ewing, J.R. Ewing. They're powerful, and they have law enforcement on a string. And that's what's happening here. When you look at everything that took place, hey, how is you said, hey, Dogface, maybe they didn't prosecute or they haven't charged NBA, Ben 10, or Dead End Ron, or OG3, or anybody else. They didn't charge them anything because there may be an ongoing investigation of some sorts that would have made it, that would have compromised their investigation. So what the fuck so that would be a mob ties. I haven't heard anything that says that. That would be a mob ties thing. That would be a Prince family thing. That wouldn't have anything to do with NBA. Because the NBA had nothing to do with Duke the Jeweler. They ain't got shit to do with none of that James Harden shit, none of the rest of that shit. They don't have nothing to do with Takeoff's murder. NBA don't have nothing to do with that. So that shit wouldn't fly as it relates to why NBA being 10 and Daddy and Ron and the other motherfucker with the beard, I think it's a Fernando, 4th, I don't know his name, the guy with the beard, the white t-shirt on, right? Right? He was the one who was grabbed JR, the big light-skinned nigga with the beard. And I don't have it, what the Prince family has going on, and whatever investigations are looming over their head, it has nothing, because no Prince person, so Junior didn't do anything here. Junior didn't do anything. So why wouldn't they charge the NBA members with assault and robbery? They don't have anything to do with the long-standing or the long ongoing investigation into the Prince family. So that don't make no sense, brother.
Yeah, no, it's confusing. I think the lawyers are going to try to clear it up this week. And again, it's going to be interesting how it's kind of put on the record, because the lawyers got to make a point to say, hey, listen, judge, number one, my client deserves bail. If we look at what's going on, my client's a victim. The perpetrators still haven't been apprehended. They haven't been charged. They're not being sought after. And the legal system that's supposed to protect my client is now weaponized against him. So I think a reasonable judge is probably going to say, well, or even reasonably ask the prosecutor, like, well, why are you guys following these path of charges and not versus anyone else?
Yes. Listen, that is the most. Listen, that is the heart of. Listen, So Allstar Jr. is on the federal level being charged with being a felon in possession of a firearm. So the conversation, so with that, we don't have to defend anybody getting hurt. We only have to answer to whether or not he had legal authorization to possess a firearm, even if temporarily. And then we can go into a conversation of initially he was being attacked and he was being robbed. So there is statute in federal and state law that says that in the event that a person can possess a firearm if he feels like his life is in imminent danger, which it was. Whenever you're being attacked by a mob of people, that is an indication of your life being in jeopardy. Whenever you're being robbed, you're a victim of multiple crimes happening here by multiple people. Not one person from the NBA camp has been charged with anything. Yeah. And you're suggesting that, well, Dogface, maybe they didn't charge because it might be interfering with the ongoing investigation. That ongoing investigation has nothing to do with them NBA sons of bitches, and it has everything to do with them mob-ties niggas.
Hey, yo, you're locked in with Waking Up TV.
Wow. No, I think you kind of nailed it. We're gonna figure this out, man. We're gonna figure this out. So you have a petition going on.
Yes.
What do you hoping happens? And is there any way that if people agree with you, they could kind of join in to try to like help out?
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking for sure. I'm looking for short support from anybody. You can be from Texas. You can be from Arizona. You can be from Alaska. We don't care. I'm actually sending you the petition now, so that you can see it. And if you could please throw it up for me, man, so the people can see it, so the chat can see it. I just sent it to you in your text messages right now. So I mean, these are unconventional times, and the things that are happening here are beyond strange. So me write this petition and have my lawyer draft this petition out and send it to the White House to send it to Donald Trump, because Donald Trump has been receptive to, I don't want to just say black people or people in the world of entertainment, but he's been more receptive than people will give him credit when it comes to prosecutorial or law, the overreach of law enforcement agencies. So that's why I sent the petition to him. And it's just not right, bro. And I don't give a fuck if nobody else supports JR from where you're from. I'm rocking with JR 1,000%. And I told him that you were that initially I was mad at your ass, and tell you the truth, right? But you've come around because Akademiks, you can't even justify a lot of this shit if you wanted to, right? At first, I thought the young boy had offered you some tickets to the concert, but I said, nah, Act came around, and he's being what Act is supposed to be, the king of the fucking hill. So I appreciate you for really delving off into this shit and really reporting this shit from an unbiased perspective, man. I want to tell you that, if nobody has told you that. I want to tell you that I appreciate your coverage as of late in terms of how you're being even-handed with what's going on, because this shit is just crazy, bro.
Yeah, I mean, again, we cover all type of cases here. I think a lot of times there's a valid and a followable train of thought that we could see what the law enforcement are trying to do. Yeah, this one is a little bit confusing. It's not necessarily about no size at all. It's really like if I told anyone the story and then I said, well, yeah, the guy who was getting attacked, who basically probably had to fire those gunshots to make sure he was alive, he's the one who got charged with a gun, and he got charged with hurting other people. So I think most people would be kind of flabbergasted. So
they'd be scratching their head. And if you notice, listen, why is it so quiet? We know that Ben 10 got shot again, but why is it so quiet on the NBA side of things? It is definitely quiet now.
Well,
they're not saying anything.
Well, number one, about Ben 10 getting shot again, like, I know they said he got shot, but I'm still wondering, like, where he got shot. But anyway, number two, when you said it's quiet on the NBA side of things, I don't think, like, YoungBoy and the main members, I don't think they're, like, obviously I think they know what's going on. I just don't think that they're going to go to the internet with this. The only person I've seen say anything is Herm, and he's been responding to Mimo 600, where, Mimo 600 has been clowning Ben 10 for being in a wheelchair. So he told Mimo 6 from 600, like, yo, put up 100,000, bro. Like, you're just on here chatting. So
I got a question for you, Ak.
Yeah.
Have you been able to ascertain whether or not the members of the NBA have felony convictions already? Do they have felonies? Does Ben 10 have a criminal history, or Danny and Ron have a criminal history? Have you been able to ascertain that?
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly don't know. I mean, I wish I did, but I would imagine that Ben 10 might have some felonies. I think he was arrested at one point. So,
yeah.
So I would think, but then again, I see him post so many guns on his like Instagram. It's no way that. Well, I mean, let me not say no way because these guys.
Don't say no way because niggas are stupid.
Yeah.
I wish you would say that shit and try to get that off. Chat gonna tear your ass up if you try to get off the fact that niggas with felonies wouldn't continue to do shit out in the open and put it on Instagram. We know how stupid niggas are.
I mean, if you go to Ben 10's Instagram, like every other post is like he has a gun, like every other post. You know. So.
You think? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so the whole thing is, I told JR that you come down with some good coverage, man. I appreciate you. And, congratulations on being voted the most powerful motherfucker in hip-hop media. So it just is what it is, bro. Whatever you need me for, just call me, let me know, and it is what it is, brother.
Yeah, definitely. As soon as we get an update, as soon as he gets to Harris County and he's able to get a reign and kind of hear some more, obviously there's a lot more to really get to with this. It's unfortunate that we're kind of like playing a guessing game just because at the end of the day, the way this is playing out is just kind of bizarre. It just don't make no sense.
Yeah. And then on a part note, I want you to know that I'm on your side when it comes to this whole Megan Thee Stallion Rockefeller shit. That shit stank. Just like this mob ties shit stink in Houston. The way they're treating you and what's going on in the power in the people who are trying to mount up against you, trying to click up against you, that shit stink, bro. That shit stink like a motherfucker. And I don't agree with it. I've been watching this shit.
I'll say this. Just like what you're seeing with like Allstar Jr. And I've learned this as the more time goes on, and especially being independent, you get to realize that as no matter how big you get as an independent source, the way how people have kept their power over years is to have these secret consortiums and cabals. And what they basically do at a certain point, just like how we even say with J. Prince Jr., like they have these tremendous influences, and then at the right or, the convenient time for them, they make sure nothing goes your way. So, shit, you try to fight for your life, you're fighting charges. Right, so
that's that's a mafioso shit right there.
Shit, I think that's the thing about just power and how people conserve it and how people use it over time. Like, it's happening in media now, right? Some of the people who might be losing the grip of having the voice or the amplified voice, now they're using other things as leverage to make sure that they still get what they want. You know what I mean? They could put you in a like an investigation. They could kind of bully you in a certain way. So, it's happening in the media, outside the media. Everyone just got to make sure they understand who they're dealing with. And again, I wouldn't have said whatever I said about mob ties if I didn't see it happening in front of our face. But I've seen this for years now. Like I wouldn't go to Houston, get into it with the Prince family and think that law enforcement is going to be fair and impartial, and I wouldn't do that.
You better not do it. You hear me?
Yeah.
I just left Texas yesterday, all right, and I was scared the whole goddamn time.
They better lay low, man. You never know when it comes to those J. Prince Jr. or J. Prince boys. You never know.
Yeah, fuck them. You gotta bring some ass to get some ass. You hear me?
Oh man. All right, Dogface, man. Listen, as soon as you have an update, hit me, man. Or if you have anything else going, just hit me. All right.
All right, thank you. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you, bro.
Yep.
All right. I'm fucking tired, Chad. Holy.